I'm Dr. David Auden. I'm an associate professor in the theology department at St. Louis University, and I teach the courses on the world's religions. Well, for about the last 40 years, I've been teaching classes on all the world's religions, and I would invite representatives of different religions into my class, and I realized they didn't always know each other. So that's where I tried to invite all of them to come together for different meetings. So ever since 1986, we have been meeting at different places here in the St. Louis area. Right now that I'm teaching in St. Louis University, we've been meeting here, and this is where representatives of all the major religions come together. We have discussions on different topics, and we try to understand each other, and many friendships have developed over this process. Ultimately, it's a matter of trying to promote peace and justice around the world. By getting people of different religions together, hopefully we can understand each other, we can go beyond tolerance and actually try to cooperate with each other and actually work together on different projects. The short-term goal is to understand each other. There's a lot of misconceptions that people have about somebody else's religion, and so it's a matter of actually finding out from a representative of another religion why that particular religion might teach something or do something. The short-range goal then is just simply understanding. The meetings are open to the public, but we usually have mainly college students, a few high school students, and then representatives of different religions. The parliaments of the world's religions have been meeting in different parts of the world. The very first parliament I, of course, did not attend because it was in 1893 in Chicago as a part of the World's Fair. But ever since then, there have been parliaments starting in 1993 in Chicago, then after that in Cape Town, South Africa in 1999, in Barcelona, Spain in 2004, and in Melbourne, Australia in 2009. And I've been very fortunate, along with several other people from St. Louis, to go to these parliaments and meet thousands of people from around the world, from all different religions. It's a religious conference where people come together and learn about each other. So the next one will be in 2014 in Brussels, Belgium. So I hope to attend that also. I've committed my life to promoting the ideals of the world's religions so that people can understand each other and share their common concerns and questions with each other. And I think it's very important that people of different religions know and come to respect each other. And then for tomorrow evening, there's a program on interfaith prison ministry where people of different religions will say how they minister to prisoners. That'll be here at SLU tomorrow evening at 6:30. I passed this around before, but let me pass it around again. And there are several other things that are going on this week. You just check the syllabus for our special events. Now, did anybody do a special event this past weekend? Yes, what did you do?
I went to
Go ahead.
The Friday night service at CORC.
Good, which is Central Reform Congregation. Good. You have a good experience?
I was fine. You know, nobody bothered me.
That's good to know. Hope you learned a lot about Judaism there. Okay, yes. Yes.
I went to a non-denominational church in Tower Grove. It was interesting, different than what I'm used to, but it was good.
Okay. You're from a Catholic background?
Yes.
Okay. So it was very different in reading the different Gospels and the different prayers?
Yeah. It was more like free, I guess.
Rather than a set formula.
Right.
Anyone else? Yes.
I finished up a movie called Little Buddha.
Okay.
It was interesting. It was a bit longer than a traditional movie, but I mean, it was pretty good.
Teaches you a lot about the Buddha himself. Yes.
I went to the Holocaust Museum. It was a really good experience. It was, they had a lot of information, and it was interesting how it continued chronologically throughout the years. And they had some videos playing of people that had done interviews at other schools or things like that. So overall, it was a good experience. A little morbid, but good.
Now, one of the most important ideas in the Jewish Bible is the concept of a Messiah. And there are important things to know about that. So once there were kings of Israel, like King David, then the Messiah was known as the king. And King David lived about 1000 BCE. And look at the biblical passages I put up.
Do you know roughly what percent of Judaisms are each of those four?
There are two different things in the United States and then worldwide. In the United States, most Jews are Reform, about 60%, about 30% conservative, about 10% Orthodox. Judaism in the world is about 40% Orthodox, about 40% Reform, and about 20% conservative.
I took this class of all the Theology 200s listed. I felt that like I could really benefit from this because other than my religion, Islam, like I'm kind of limited on the understanding of others. So taking this class really did open my eyes to like the Jewish religions, the Asians, like the Buddhists, Taoists, other religions like that. Like when my friends will go to their specific, like I have friends that are Sikh, my mother's side of the family is Christian, so participating in their holidays like Easter, or when they go to church, perhaps maybe I'll go just to have an experience with that.
One of my dreams is to become a physician, and in order to become a successful physician is to be able to communicate with others. And I think by learning others' religions, you can be able to better communicate with them. Being raised in like a Hindu tradition, I wasn't really exposed to many other religions, but afterwards, taking this class has really helped me understand others' perspectives, and I see that even though there's many categories, which we call religions, we all have the same goals in order to live in a peaceful community.
Today we have one of the true leaders of the St. Louis Islamic community in Dr. Rana. Dr. Rana, besides being a professor emeritus at St. Louis U, he still does some lecturing, I believe, do you not? Has also been very, very active in the Islamic community.
People who follow that scripture, follow that law, and this is for them, and they still follow that. The same way after the halakha, then came the canon law. Canon law is the one which mostly Catholics of the world still use and direct their life accordingly. Time to time there are some changes. The Pope gives some orders, relaxes some, restricts some, but still that canon law is still there and it is followed by the Christians. So the halakha is for the Jewish people, so they can direct their life the way they are supposed to do. The dietary laws, social laws, interaction with each other. The same way the canon law tells the people how to go and follow their interaction with the other people who are of the same religion or other religion. But those laws have been here and been followed by the people. Sharia is a part of a Muslim life. It directs a Muslim. And what happened is that it is a little bit more expanded, and because there are more Muslims to follow it, like 1.6 billion now. And this has been implemented among the Muslims even now, no matter where you go in the world, this law is only for the Muslims, not for the non-Muslims. All those non-Muslims were living in these countries which are majority Muslims. They are not to follow, or they are not to be forced, they are not to be even asked to follow the Sharia law. It's only Muslims. Even the Muslims have said, do not follow the Sharia law. There are very few who are strict to follow the Sharia law.
Both the Quran and Hadith, and who are the scholars, and who decides who is a scholar?
The books are just the sources are just the two, Quran and the Hadith.
Hadith is interpretive.
Mostly important.
Am I correct in saying that?
No, let me explain it.
Yeah.
The two sources are the Quran and the Hadith. But the Quran is the major source, because that scripture was revealed to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It was recorded in his presence. He didn't want anybody else to write anything except that. So that is the major authority in it. Hadith was how he implemented the Quranic law.
Who is he? Interpretive, generationally interpretive.
Yes.
By people who are
Yes.
akin to the Talmud, Papa That's a bad word, interesting word. Bulls. But are other sort of evolving things in various religions?
Let me make a small statement, then I'll come back to you. You cannot interpret Quran unless you really know what the Arabic language is all about, number one. You should know and then it is your interpretation, right? Mm-hmm. You have a translation by Abdullah Yusuf Ali, translation by Fiqh translation. I can reject any translation because it's a translation, it's that person's way of doing it. But the original scripture is there, I cannot go against that, okay? Number one, the scholars are been recognized. I'll come to you in a minute. In the scripture, gambling is not allowed. Nobody can change it. In the scripture, there are dietary laws. You cannot eat pork. Nobody can change that. But these interpretation of the scholars comes in when the new problems arise, which has not been totally or clearly extrapolated into the scripture. Did I explain to you that now? So there are two ways of these, and this is not that one scholar said that you take it. No, other scholars say come in and say no, this person is wrong. This person shouldn't say that. And one person calls it said, hey, we just started. It's a very amusing situation. Somebody called it herself as a scholar in the Islamic studies and all this thing, and then wrote down that there is nothing wrong having a dog in the house. I have a dog who was the best companions of my man. You should see the internet. The scholars left and right as they came. They said, Prophet told everybody not to have the dog at home because it is not clean. Its saliva is not clean. If you rub at you or your dress will be soiled and you cannot pray. So they were on her case like anything, who told you, you became scholar and all this thing, this has been decided, you cannot do this. See, there's a very thing open in there. Sharia is not a static, it is dynamic, it changes, it has a room,
And then you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Dr. Rana says that the Quran is open to interpretation. From interpretation. the modification?
No, you cannot modify.
So how do you interpret?
You can interpret the word, one word can have the different meanings of it in the different languages.
Okay, so that's the interpretation.
That's the interpretation.
But the
That's it.
essence has not changed.
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I gotta write this
So
down.
that essence is not changed. Rashad Khalifa.
He's my neighbor.
Huh? He was your neighbor.
We live next door to each other.
He studied this through the computer. He took the computer wherever.
Because under here, I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's human rights.
Yeah.
And it says respect for freedom for human dignity, 2 requirements, 1 religious freedom and 2 gender equality.
Yes. That's what it is.
There's not a lot of gender equality in human.
That's what it is. That's what the truth is about this.
been hiding for years.
Or do you want somebody else's
I want your opinion and I want the opinion of the religion.
When I came here today, I thought that my perception was that it was going to be like water and mud, that I was going to completely understand the difference between all the concepts and all the religions. And what happened was it was like if you put water and mud into a jar and shook it up. My perceptions now are cloudier than they were when I came in. For instance, I asked a question about women's rights or women's equality, and he said that, well, women can be imams or they can study being imams, but then the culture, I don't know any woman that's an imam. So then I got very confused because there seems to be the principle or the law and then the spirit of the law, and that's what I don't understand. What's the difference between the principle of the law and the spirit of the law when it's carried out in humanity or in the culture?
Yes, and for future plans, do you intend to attend another lecture
Absolutely.
about interfaith?
I want to attend more lectures about interfaith because I think it's essential for my well-being and my evolution to be able to have compassion. And right now, I have some compassion for other faiths, but I still have a lot of mistrust and fear about other faiths. So I want to be able to get along, like a comforter or a quilt, that they're little pieces all over the place, and I want them to be sewn together, to be separate pieces, but to be sewn together in one humanity in which I can feel peace and calm and not be afraid to live here on earth.
I think a lot of this is cultural overlays on religion. And unfortunately, religions often serve lesser values or purposes.
Okay, what's your name, sir? Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما والذين يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما والذين يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما والذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر ولا يقتلون النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ولا يزنون ومن يفعل ذلك يلقى أثاما يضاعف له العذاب يوم القيامة ويخلد فيه مهانا إلا من تاب وآمن وعمل عملا صالحا فأولئك يبدل الله سيئاتهم حسنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما ومن تاب وعمل صالحا فإنه يتوب إلى الله متابا والذين لا يشهدون الزور وإذا مروا باللغو مروا كراما والذين إذا ذكروا بآيات ربهم لم يخروا عليها صما وعميانا والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما أولئك يجزون الغرفة بما صبروا ويلقون فيها تحية وسلاما خالدين فيها حسنت مستقرا ومقاما قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم فقد كذبتم فسوف يكون لزاما